Strategy and Ops, Climate Hazard Mapping for Business and Infrastructure Masterclass. Welcome to Session 3, Tools, Rapid Mapping, and Case Study. In this session, you'll learn how to use the same climate mapping tools that practitioners rely on around the world. We'll walk through 5 platforms: UNEP Strata, CMRA, AMIA, ArcGIS Online, and Google Earth Pro. You'll learn what each tool does, how to read its outputs, and how to use them to create rapid exposure maps for real-world decisions. We'll apply these tools to an Australian bushfire case study and work through a hands-on scenario exercise. By the end of this session, you'll have practical skills you can use immediately in climate risk assessments. Let's get started. Climate mapping tools range from specialized platforms to general-purpose GIS software. Each one plays a different role in your risk assessment workflow. UNEP Strata is built for climate vulnerability assessments. It helps you evaluate exposure, sensitivity, and adaptive capacity across regions. Use Strata when you need a full, comprehensive vulnerability analysis. CMRA, Climate Mapping for Resilience and Adaptation, is focused on adaptation planning. It highlights resilience gaps and helps you prioritize where interventions are needed most. Use CMRA when you're designing adaptation strategies. AMIA, the Adaptation and Mitigation Interaction Assessment Tool, shows how adaptation actions interact with mitigation goals. Some strategies support both. Others involve trade-offs. MEA helps you see the synergies and avoid conflicts. ArcGIS Online is a professional GIS platform you can access through your browser. It offers powerful mapping, spatial analysis, and customization. Use ArcGIS when you need advanced analysis or when you're building complex maps. Google Earth Pro provides simple, intuitive geospatial visualization. It's free, easy to learn, and offers global satellite imagery. Use Google Earth Pro for rapid visual assessments or when you need clear visuals for stakeholder communication. UNEP Strata is the United Nations Environment Programme's platform for standardized climate vulnerability assessment. It applies the IPCC vulnerability framework in a clear, consistent way. Strata looks at 3 components. First is exposure, which areas face climate hazards. The platform uses global datasets on heat, rainfall change, sea level rise, storms, and other hazards. Second is sensitivity, how easily people, ecosystems, and systems are affected. This includes demographics, land use, and ecosystem conditions. Third is adaptive capacity, the ability to cope or adjust. Strata uses indicators related to governance, economic resources, and social support systems. Strata combines these into vulnerability scores. High exposure, high sensitivity, and low adaptive capacity result in high vulnerability. The platform calculates these scores from the national level down to subnational regions. One of Strata's biggest strengths is standardization. Because it uses consistent methods, results from different regions can be compared. You can benchmark your region, track changes over time, or align with international reporting requirements. Strata outputs include color-coded hotspot maps, score breakdowns, and rankings that show which areas need action first. You use Strata when you need a rigorous, internationally aligned vulnerability assessment. It's especially useful for national adaptation planning, donor reporting, and cross-country comparisons. Its main limitation is data resolution. Strata relies on global datasets, which may not capture neighborhood-level detail. This Strata map shows how heatwave, drought, and population exposure layers combine to reveal widespread climate vulnerability across Australia. Climate Mapping for Resilience and Adaptation, CMRA, helps turn climate risk data into clear adaptation priorities. Once you know where vulnerabilities are, CMRA helps you design and prioritize adaptation actions. Its core function is resilience gap analysis. You enter current conditions, existing infrastructure, institutional capacity, and community resources, along with future climate scenarios. CMRA shows the gap between what you have today and what you'll need in the future. Those gaps become your top adaptation priorities. The platform includes an adaptation options library with hundreds of proven interventions. For coastal flooding, CMRA may suggest seawalls, mangrove restoration, stronger building codes, or managed retreat. For extreme heat, it highlights tree canopy expansion, cool surfaces, early warning systems, and cooling centers. One of CMRA's biggest strengths is built-in cost-benefit analysis. For each option, it estimates costs, maintenance needs, expected benefits, and overall cost-effectiveness. This makes it easy to compare interventions and choose the best mix. The output is a prioritized adaptation portfolio. CMRA ranks actions by effectiveness, urgency, and feasibility. It highlights quick wins that are low cost and high impact, and identifies larger, long-term investments that require sustained funding. It also helps sequence interventions over time within your available budget. You use CMRA when you're ready to move from assessment to action. It's ideal for municipal adaptation planning, infrastructure investment decisions, and donor-funded programs. The main limitation is data quality. CMRA works best when reliable cost and benefit data are available, which may not be the case for every context. These graphics show how CMRA visualizes local climate hazards, such as extreme precipitation and prolonged dry days, so users can quickly assess future risk and identify priority areas for adaptation planning. The Adaptation and Mitigation Interaction Assessment Tool, AMIA, evaluates how climate adaptation and mitigation measures interact. It classifies interventions into three categories. Positive synergies reduce climate risk and lower emissions. Examples include urban forests, green buildings, and renewable energy with storage. Trade-offs occur when adaptation increases emissions. Air conditioning, desalination, and concrete seawalls provide protection, but raise energy use or embodied carbon. Neutral actions deliver adaptation benefits without affecting emissions. Examples include evacuation planning, heat alerts, and flood insurance. AMIA scores interventions on adaptation value and mitigation impact. This enables integrated strategies like solar-powered cooling centers. It supports municipal climate plans, corporate sustainability strategies, and climate finance proposals. It identifies synergies and flags interventions requiring mitigation offsets. This graphic shows how climate change, emissions, socioeconomic pathways, and adaptation measures interact. It highlights where actions reinforce or conflict with each other. ArcGIS Online delivers full GIS capability directly through the browser, no installation needed. Its key strength is custom mapping. Users can layer climate hazards, infrastructure, demographics, and land use, and style each layer for clear communication. Built-in spatial tools like buffers and overlays help quantify exposure, such as buildings near flood zones or neighborhoods facing combined heat and social vulnerability. The platform accepts spreadsheets, shapefiles, real-time feeds, and data from Esri's Living Atlas, making it easy to build complete maps in one place. Outputs are polished and shareable, whether exported as images/PDFs or published as interactive web maps. ArcGIS Online is ideal for advanced analysis, planning, and stakeholder engagement. Its main limitation is licensing cost, though education and nonprofit discounts are available. This map combines future flood risk with demographic data for New York City, illustrating how hazard exposure aligns with population distribution and social vulnerability. Google Earth Pro is a simple, accessible tool for geospatial visualization. It's completely free, works on almost any computer, and requires very little training. Its main strength is high-resolution satellite imagery. In most urban areas, you can see individual buildings, trees, roads, and land use patterns clearly. Many locations also have imagery from multiple years going back 15 to 20 years, which makes time series analysis easy. This historical imagery is especially useful for climate assessment. You can see where cities expanded over former vegetation. You can visualize coastal erosion or flooding impacts over time. You can track deforestation in fire-prone areas. You can see new development in flood zones. Simply using the time slider brings these changes into view. Google Earth Pro also includes simple but helpful tools. You can measure distances, areas, and elevations, draw boundaries, drop pins, and add notes. You can import data from Excel or KML files and even overlay your own maps and images. The output is visual rather than analytical, which is exactly what makes it powerful for communication. When explaining climate risk to decision makers or community members, nothing beats showing real satellite imagery of their neighborhoods. When documenting site conditions for reports or proposals, annotated images and measurements provide strong, concrete evidence. You use Google Earth Pro for rapid assessments, field planning, stakeholder engagement, and report visuals. Its limitation is analysis. Google Earth Pro can't run statistics, models, or spatial operations. For that, you move to ArcGIS Online or other GIS tools. This image shows dense Sierra Nevada forests giving way to arid desert basins, with steep slopes and sparse valley vegetation shaping where communities and infrastructure can operate safely. Rapid exposure mapping gives you quick, actionable intelligence when decisions can't wait for a full assessment. Here's the workflow. Step 1 is defining the scope. You answer 3 simple questions. Which hazard are we mapping? Flood, heat, wildfire, or multiple hazards? What area are we looking at? A neighborhood, a city, or a region? And what assets matter most? Infrastructure, vulnerable populations, businesses, or ecosystems? A clear scope keeps the work focused. Step 2 is gathering readily available data. You use existing hazard maps, flood zones, heat island data, wildfire risk layers. You do not build new hazard models. For assets, you pull from open sources like OpenStreetMap for infrastructure, census data for populations, and internal records for critical facilities. The goal is to use the data you have now, not wait for perfect data later. Step 3 is overlay and analysis using the tools we covered. In Google Earth Pro, you visually spot which assets sit in hazard zones. In ArcGIS Online, you run buffer and intersection tools to calculate exposure precisely. In CMRA or Strata, you load your data and let the platform generate exposure results. The question is straightforward. What is located in the hazard area? Step 4 is creating a clear decision map. You color-code exposure levels, add labels for key vulnerabilities, and include simple summary statistics. The map should answer 2 things. Where should we act first? And what's at risk? Rapid exposure mapping takes hours or days, never weeks. You trade a bit of precision for speed, but you deliver the insights decision makers need when they need them. You use this method in emergency planning, early-stage project assessments, or anytime stakeholders need quick answers. This map shows large portions of Southeast Virginia's shoreline and inland waterways, with an elevated flood risk affecting housing, transportation, and utilities. Choosing the right tool is one of the most common challenges professionals face when working with climate risk data. Each platform has strengths, limitations, and ideal use cases. This guide gives practitioners a fast way to match the task to the right tool without needing to dive into technical documentation. The goal is simple. Start with the decision you need to make, then select the tool built for that decision. Google Earth Pro is the quickest option when you need visual confirmation, such as checking if a facility is built near eroding coastline or reviewing land use changes over time. It's fast, free, and ideal for early scoping or stakeholder communication. ArcGIS Online is the best choice when you need deeper analysis. If your task involves buffers, overlays, exposure statistics, or building multi-layer maps for planning, ArcGIS provides the analytical power required. CMRA is the go-to tool once you shift from understanding risk to planning adaptation. It helps quantify resilience gaps, compare interventions, and rank adaptation options under different climate scenarios. UNEP Strata is ideal when you need a standardized vulnerability baseline. It combines hazard, exposure, and socioeconomic indicators into ready-to-use vulnerability scores, which are especially helpful for regional and national planning. AMIA comes into play when you need to consider how adaptation and mitigation interact. It reveals synergies, identifies trade-offs, and helps ensure adaptation actions don't unintentionally increase emissions. Together, these tools cover the full workflow, from rapid diagnostics to deep analysis, integrated planning, and investment-ready recommendations. The 2019 to 2020 Australian bushfire season, known as Black Summer, offers important lessons for climate risk assessment and adaptation planning. The scale of the event was extraordinary. Fires burned 18.6 million hectares, destroyed more than 3,000 homes, and caused 34 direct fatalities. Smoke affected millions and drove economic losses of more than 100 billion Australian dollars. It was one of the most damaging fire seasons in Australia's history. Several vulnerability factors came together to create these conditions. Australia had just experienced its hottest and driest year on record. Severe drought dried out soils and vegetation, creating huge fuel loads. Record-breaking temperatures, some reaching 48 degrees Celsius, pushed fire danger to extreme levels. Strong winds then spread fires rapidly, far faster than agencies could contain. Geography also played a major role. Many communities sat at the wildland-urban interface, the transition zone between forests and homes. These areas faced direct exposure when fires moved from bushland into populated areas. Some towns had only one access road, which became blocked during fires, trapping residents. Aging infrastructure, such as wooden power poles and limited water systems, added further risk. Black Summer exposed several adaptation gaps. Early warning systems existed, but couldn't keep up with how fast the fires moved. Evacuation plans didn't account for multiple large fires happening at once. Emergency services didn't have enough capacity for an event of this scale. And building codes in fire-prone areas weren't strong enough for modern wildfire conditions. The lessons are clear. We need stronger early warning systems designed for compound extremes. We need backup evacuation routes for at-risk communities. We need infrastructure and building standards that match future climate conditions, not past averages. And we need vegetation management strategies that reduce risk while supporting ecosystem health. The scale of the fires highlighted major resilience gaps in land management, emergency response, and infrastructure protection. Now it's your turn to apply what you've learned. You'll complete a scenario-based exercise that mirrors real-world conditions. The scenario: you're advising a coastal city of 500,000 people facing two major climate threats: extreme heat and sea level rise. The city manager needs a rapid assessment that highlights which neighborhoods should receive priority adaptation investments. You have 1 hour to deliver your results. Your task: use the rapid exposure mapping workflow to identify the top 3 most vulnerable neighborhoods. Your decisions should be based on compound exposure to heat and coastal flooding, along with population vulnerability. The tools available: Google Earth Pro for visual assessment and historical change, census data for age, income, and housing conditions, flood maps showing areas below 3 meters elevation and storm surge zones, heat island data showing surface temperature patterns. Your deliverable: a one-page priority map that clearly marks the 3 highest risk neighborhoods. Color code them by risk level. Add brief notes explaining why each one is a priority. Include simple summary statistics showing how many people, homes, or key facilities are exposed. Use the data you have, keep the analysis focused. Decision makers don't need perfect precision. They need clear priorities fast. Work individually or in small teams. When time is up, be ready to present your map and defend your choices. Let's begin. Welcome to your quick knowledge check. These 5 questions review the key concepts from Session 3, including climate mapping tools, rapid exposure analysis, and the Australian bushfire case study. Answer each question based on what you've learned about tool selection, interpreting outputs, and applying rapid mapping workflows. Question 1. What is the primary purpose of UNEP Strata? A. Visualizing satellite imagery for stakeholders. B. Conducting standardized climate vulnerability assessments. C. Running advanced geospatial analysis and custom overlays. D. Calculating long-term emissions pathways. Question 2. Which tool is best for identifying resilience gaps and prioritizing adaptation actions? A. Google Earth Pro. B. ArcGIS Online. C. CMRA. D. AMIA. Question 3. Which of the following describes a trade-off identified by the AMIA tool? A. Tree planting lowers heat and cuts emissions. B. Air conditioning reduces heat risk but increases energy use. C. Solar-powered cooling centers support both adaptation and mitigation. D. Evacuation planning has no impact on emissions. Question 4. What is the main strength of Google Earth Pro in climate risk work? A. Running statistical models and exposure calculations. B. Producing high-resolution satellite visuals for communication. C. Conducting cost-benefit analysis of adaptation options. D. Ranking adaptation portfolios. Question 5. What is the primary output of rapid exposure mapping? A. A fully validated engineering-grade hazard model. B. A decision-ready map showing priority risk areas. C. A multi-year capital plan with budget forecasts. D. A legal compliance report for mitigation measures.